Welcome back for a walkthrough of this great Boston Whaler 250 Dauntless. This is not a Boston Whaler standard collar. We wrapped this. It has been wrapped because of an event that we recently had. So this is something that Kempers Watersport did, and of course anyone wanting to buy a Boston Whaler from us, we can wrap in any style / color that you'd like. We like this color because it matches a car that was used for the event. But anyway, that being said, this is the, for us, new Boston Whaler 250 Dauntless. As a dealer, we ordered it, I think, already 1.5 years ago. It has taken some time for us to get it in our showroom. And now we don't only have it in our showroom, but we have it right here at the Kodderspoel, Aalsmeer, a great location. Kempers Island is the place where we're at the moment. And we just took this boat out for the very first time. As usual with Boston Whaler, we tend to think, what is there to improve? Because the boat which was before this, the Dauntless in this length, was the 240 Dauntless, which was already, we thought, a fantastic boat. And we're always surprised when the new model comes out that Boston Whaler managed to further improve any boat that they bring out on the market. The same applies to this Boston Whaler 250 Dauntless. Personally, and our sales team, we consider the Dauntless family being shallow water, lake, river boats. Fun, luxurious, but mainly aimed for maybe not open seas, but smaller waters. And as with any boat, it's always a compromise. And what I truly like is that they further improved this compromise. And how they did that with regards to the hull shape is that they increased the dead rise and also increased the freeboard. So the hull, as you may see on the images and the footage, is higher and quite a bit than on the 240 Dauntless. And that is something that I really appreciate. Please notice also the flare in the bow. And we just, as I mentioned, took this boat out for the very first time, and there's quite a strong wind. You don't notice it here, but we'll take her out later also. I think there's 16 to 20 knots of wind approximately. And we were tremendously surprised by the way it handles. And not only that, it offers a fantastic dry ride. And that is something that we are used to with Boston Whaler. But going headwind and maybe even angled, people who are experienced boaters may realize that it's quite difficult to still have a dry ride. But with this boat, not a single drop ended up in the boat. So we were impressed. But as we're used to, I'd like to take you through the boat. Starting off at the bow. There's a couple of things that I'd like to point out. Of course, it's a 25-footer. It's quite beamy, it's roomy, and there's a couple of things that I really like with this 250 Dauntless. There's plenty of flat surfaces here on the bow. They're relatively big with non-skid. So very easy access if you moor bow first or if you take her up to a beach or something. So this is really easy to get on and off the boat, do some cleaning, etc., etc. I really like these recessed grab rails. There's an option to have higher bow rails, which for our area, the Benelux area, I would not recommend straight away, because this also makes it a lot easier to step on and off the boat, to hand over certain things you'd like to carry with you while boating. So this is something I think is not only practical, but just looks really sleek and nice. Talking about practical, of course, there's cup holders, 2 here, so 2 on each side. And as usual, all the stainless steel throughout the whole boat is made out of 316 quality, which is the best available in the water sports industry. Full solid stainless steel cleats all through the boat. There are 6 on the boat. And non-skid again all over the place right here. And if we start at the bow, this is the anchor locker, which of course can be used for an anchor, but you can also store other things there. And like, well, with any Boston Whaler, it basically is an insulated boat also, because it's fully foamed, it's unsinkable, it's very sturdy, it's very safe. But it also means very practically that if you put something inside here or in the live well, which is under here, the live well slash cooler I should say, that it stays cool for quite some time because it's automatically insulated. And notice also these cold molded hatches, which means that you have flat surfaces. You don't have this rough fiberglass, which I think doesn't look very nice, but not only that, this is more practical because in 30 years time or so, this still looks good. Whereas if you have the rough fiberglass, it ends up having mildew, dirt, grease, whatever. Difficult to take out, not with this Boston Whaler 250 Dauntless because of these nice flat surfaces. Stainless steel gas struts like we're used to. And of course, every detail is done, well, I think it has been perfected. It's the latches right here, stainless steel. It's the way you attach cushions like this, which is just very practical and simple. People may know, being experienced, that this can be quite a struggle. Not with Boston Whaler, because they thought about this. And not only that, but if you see double stitching here on the corners, this is where cushions usually tend to wear. So this is why Boston Whaler is doing the double stitching on the edges here. I like these patterns, just gives it a classy look. And also, as I mentioned, a big cooler slash live well with overboard drain. So this can also be used to take a lot of drinks with you or store the catch of the day. You may notice this also. There is a table with dedicated storage stored underneath this lid here. So this is the bow table. There's an L-shaped table leg which goes in here, which means that if you want to socialize, spend a beautiful day in the water like we have today, you can actually have a table here with cup holders, so you have extra place to put your drinks, have a small lunch, etc., etc. And let me close this off just for a minute, because I just want to show you also this social area with these backrests which fold up easily like this. This is just a great place to do some lounging. And most people know me like the 1.92 m guy. You can see that there's plenty of space even for tall people like myself. So just a really nice lounging area. A great place also to sit while driving, especially if it's really warm like today, because you want to feel the fresh wind. And for that, this area here is just great. It's roomy. For people who do some fishing, there's obviously rod holders. There's two here, there's more at the back, but I'll show you later. And like this, you just fold them down very easily. There's speakers here, and you already noticed this big lounge area. Let me also show you how big that is. Also for me, I love these armrests which fold up with stainless steel support. It all feels very solid. And it feels like it can last a lifetime, like any Boston Whaler. There's cup holders, one on each side. And of course, you may already have seen the storage area below. Sorry about all the items that are inside, but it's a demo. So all the covers, fenders, lines, cleaning stuff, etc. is in there. But again, there's dedicated storage for the table also. And there's also storage for rod holders, because they go in here, so they go into the console, so there's place for that. And also here, stainless steel gas struts. I like these gaskets which keep water outside. You see here these gunnels which drain the water if any would go underneath here. It doesn't go inside this area, but it is drained overboard. Of course, by the way, the boat is self-bailing. A really important feature of many Boston Whalers, but certainly of this Boston Whaler 250 Dauntless. So with that, I think I have been covering the bow area, so let me take you further back. There's a bimini. This is made out of Sunbrella, which is the best quality available in the market, and also here all stainless steel supports. Also this with a small rubber inside to prevent rattling. And there's a big console here, and what I like before I go further back is that it's quite roomy. Also here there's some stuff from us, but let me also go inside. What Boston Whaler has also done is that they increase the space here, which makes it easier to enter, because of course with your shoulders this is where you are most wide usually. So also with 1.92 m it is possible to use this as a head. The top light is here, the L-shaped table rest. We took a drone and we took other stuff and shoes, but anyway, this is just a good area, and of course it's practical to have a small toilet with you. What I also like is just a small detail, but you may notice that this doesn't simply open with a slight breeze of wind. There's a little bit of resistance, and that is just something that is very practical. And again, also here there's a gasket here, not only to keep the water out, but also to prevent it from rattling. It doesn't rattle, it is lockable, double stainless steel hinges, it's all in the details. Coming to the helm area, I'll go into further detail when we take her out for a spin. But there's a couple of things that I like. I like this duotone styling with the helm, this being in a tan color, which looks good, but also is practical. I am kind of struggling not wearing my sunglasses for this video, but while looking at this, it actually is quite comfortable, because there's quite a bit of glare if you have full white dashes. So this has a practical approach also, and you may notice that this is kind of empty, and that is because we ordered this as a stock boat, and many of our customers have a certain preference for Raymarine equipment or Simrad or Garmin, whatever. So we ordered it basically blank, but one thing that we did order was this glove box, which I think is very practical. Again, this is an option, so what you can do is either have one 9-inch display here and another here, or just keep the 9-inch and have this glove box, or you install a 12-inch, which would be my personal preference. There's space enough for a 12-inch, and with a 12-inch usually you can split the screen, so you have, for example, engine data and a map right here, or fish finder, engine data, etc. So I do think that that is the most practical choice, but of course that is something personal. The new Mercury controls, I'll get back to that, and of course this full cast Boston Whaler steering wheel, which can tilt. I love these knobs with any Boston Whaler, and especially with this V8 outboard, which is hydraulically steered and power assisted. It is relatively light to steer with just one hand and use this knob. Very easy to maneuver. Another very practical thing is this place where you can leave your phone and it's automatically wirelessly charged. They use this CDEC material here, which also is practical. It looks good, but it also keeps your phone from sliding off. And again, we just took her out with quite a strong wind, with some waves, but it just stayed right there and didn't slide out or anything. There's receptacles here for, let me see, USB-C, USB and another USB port. Probably one of them is also used to connect it to the audio, but most people obviously connect wirelessly via Bluetooth, which is possible with this JL audio. There's automatic switches, well I should say switches with automatic circuit breakers right here, like we're used to from Boston Whaler. Cup holders, again stainless steel, a nice compass, This being relatively high, again, I'm 1.92 m. What I usually do driving boats such as these Boston Whalers, I tend to lean like this, especially in heavy conditions. And I'm pretty much protected from the relatively high window here at the bow. And also ergonomically, you may have noticed that I'm leaning like this, and there's an angled footrest right here, but there's a second one right there. And if I fold this down, sit like this is just done in a perfect way. I know from experience that Boston Whaler always makes a mock-up, which means that they make a model on a 1-to-1 scale of simple materials like cardboard and cheap wood, and they try all this just to know how high this armrest needs to be, how this needs to be, how far this leaning post should be, the distance should be from the helm. And as you may see, it's just done in a perfect way. Again, it's all in the details. Just looking around if there's anything else I am forgetting. You may notice the CE plate right here. It's a C category, which for some people may be a bit of a surprise, because I personally think that this, if you consider the capability going in rough waters, may be a B or even an A, but of course there are certain requirements to that. But what I'm most looking at is that it can carry easily 10 people. It's allowed in European countries to carry 10 people. But I always recommend people not to look all too much to this category, because I see boats which have B or A, which I think, I'm not crossing the channel to England with that. But with a boat like this, it's the other way around. I would easily do that, whereas it only has a C. So that doesn't really tell much, but the capacity is something important. There's two other speakers right here. There's 4 different configurations for the area right here. We chose the deluxe leaning post with this beautiful double seat with flip-ups like I just showed, with 4 cup holders here, 2 rod holders and additional storage. Sliding drawers with this starboard material, so it's all, well, again, this will also last a lifetime. There's 3 of them. There's also gaskets again right here, small detail. And there's a bigger storage right here to take this 5-gallon basket for anything you'd like to take with you. And again here, these recessed grab rails. These are also used for the seats, which are underneath here. They're, I would call them pop-up seats, but before I go into that, what I particularly appreciate on this Boston Whaler 250 Dauntless is this huge platform, which Boston Whaler calls a casting platform. Most whalers are used for fishing, but in the Netherlands, Belgium, etc., we do more lounging, entertaining on the water. And for that, I think this is a great platform too. And why am I saying that? I see a lot of people, especially on days like today, where kids go along and you have water skis, you have towables, and nowadays you even have a wing foil board or an e-foil board, a stand-up paddle board, so lots of toys. This being a quite roomy boat, you could put your stand-up paddle board right here, especially if it's an inflatable one, which you can easily carry. But if you have like a 3-people towable, you store it right here without it being in the way. If you tie it down, it's just done easily. You don't have to be afraid about damaging it. Again, you tie it down and off you go. So a really great platform. Not only that, you see these 2 bathing platforms, which are a bit angled away from the engine. That is done also not only aesthetically, but also to have the swimming ladder angled away from the engine so you don't get hurt. And let me just show you this huge bathing ladder with 4 steps. I always point out that it is, well, that you can appreciate a tall bathing ladder such as this one, because I have seen boats in this category with only 2, maybe 3 steps, where it's kind of difficult to get in and out of the water. Not with the Boston Whaler, because again it is a solution which is done in this way with a proper 4-step bathing ladder. Of course there's technical stuff underneath. On this side, for example, I just saw a battery with the main switch, and again, sorry, here all this is done to prevent water coming in. There's gaskets again, cold molded lids, recessed hinges, all made out of stainless steel. Further rod holders, easy access to the fuel filler cap. I love the clean installation of these Mercury V8 outboards, with only this going in and this with all the cabling. It's just clean, neat, makes this area easy to clean. So a really nice solution. There's a standard live well right here, which again can also be used for storage slash cooling, a cooling area. And as I just mentioned, there's 2 pop-up seats. Let me just take it out like this. There's still a bit of water. We just cleaned the boat, took the dust off. But this is done in a really nice way. Very simple to attach the seat like this. And again, you just add the seating area, and it's done in a way that also here the ergonomics are done perfectly. A high backrest, I like this patterning. This is recessed, so flush, easy to get on and off the boat, to take things out on or off the boat. But still you can grab onto this grab rail and it just feels right. It shouldn't be here, it shouldn't be there. This is done in the perfect way. Just looking around if there's anything I'm forgetting. And I do think that the only thing is that we really am thrilled to take her out on the water again. So that's exactly what we're going to do now. I am going to put my sunglasses on. Excuse me for that, but I'm struggling a bit with this strong sunshine. But let's start up, untie and take her out. It is a fantastic day today to take a beautiful boat such as this Boston Whaler 250 Dauntless out on the water. One thing that I just forgot to mention is that obviously we ordered this boat without a T-top or a hardtop, but they are of course options. Being in the Netherlands where we have lots of bridges, it is important for us that the boat is not too high. For example, to take her through Amsterdam, which is important for us. So an important height bridges here is 2.50 meters, and this is a lot lower. I would say around 1.80 meter or so, but I don't really know. At least it's low enough to go under all bridges in this area nearly. So that is why we ordered it like this. And also because we're really thrilled when the when the sun is out on a beautiful day such as today. We actually want to feel the sun and not always want to be in the shade, which is different in other climates. Anyway, we do have, of course, this Bimini, but we'll leave her like this because, of course, we'll take her up to speed in a minute. And talking about that, we're doing, sorry about that, we're doing 11.5 kilometers an hour. I'm seeing this through VesselView Mobile, which is an app with which you can connect to a Bluetooth module on the engine. We're doing 1,400 RPM approximately. You can read it out on the gauges here also, but usually you have a navigation screen from Raymarine, Simrad or whatever with a connection to the engine, so you see the engine data right here. But for now, as a compromise, I'm using my phone. Again, 1,400 RPM and 11 kilometers an hour. So this is more or less displacement speed. And of course, I'd like to take her up the plane. Let me look around me if there's any boats in the area that we need to be careful with. Here it doesn't look like there's a strong wind, but I think there's, again, around 14 plus knots. You may notice further down there when we decided to take her from the back, which makes it more comfortable, especially with the audio. So let me take her up the plane. I'm doing this gently because of the cameraman, but of course it's a V8 with lots of torque. This has the 300 horsepower, which I personally think is the ideal combination. It can handle up to 400 horsepower, but I don't think it's necessary because it's extremely fast. We're already doing 30 kilometers an hour in the meantime. But it just feels as very smooth, very powerful. I'm sure if you carry 8+ people on board, it will still take her up the plane relatively easy. And this is a nice cruising speed, maybe not optimum, I cannot see the fuel consumption, but we're doing 3,100 RPM, and you may notice that the noise level is relatively low. We're driving comfortably, she handles like a breeze, I can let go of the wheel. A very smooth and dry ride. Again, the dead rise has been increased from the previous 240 Dauntless. And there's a nice flare in the bow area which gives a really nice dry ride, but it just feels relatively heavy and solid, yet sporty because of this powerful V8 300 horsepower engine. This is in white. Of course you can also have it in black. We've noticed that most people prefer having it in white. It's on one hand a matter of taste, but otherwise there's a practical approach to it too, because you don't see chalk and salt on white outboard that easy. So most people tend to choose the white outboard, but again it's a matter of taste. So let me increase some speed. Doing 3,800 RPM. Already at, let me see, it's a bit difficult to see, 51 kilometers an hour. There's a bit of wind, so we won't get optimum top speed. We may not even get there. But still, just like to point out, I can still let go of the wheel. The engine noise is still comfortable. This may be close to or around optimum cruising speed with regards to fuel efficiency. This is just fantastic. Let me also take some turns. Fantastic. Nothing rattling, no strange noises. You may hear the engine revving a bit, catching a bit of air, but that also has to do with the settings of the active trim which is installed on this boat. But it just handles really nice. And even here I'm steering with one hand. It's really easy to turn the steering wheel because of this power assisted steering. It handles like a dream. Let me go straight, not to tease the cameraman too much, and pick up some more speed. Doing 4,600 RPM, 64 kilometers an hour. Again, maybe difficult to achieve top speed, 6,600 RPM. 82 kilometers an hour, and still no hand on the wheel. It remains really impressive. So we're back at the marina after a great ride out on this Whaler 250 Dauntless. Thank you for watching. Keep on watching our videos because that really motivates us making these videos, and of course it's really fun to be out on the water on a beautiful day in a beautiful boat such as this Whaler. Again, thank you, see you in the next videos and have fun on the water. Bye.